An immaculate inning. 9-pitch, 3 strikeout. Rarely happens in baseball.
Welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of the Immaculate Inning. Drew here with Shane. Excited to be back with you guys. Got some World Series action.
Yes, some exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff. You know, not ready for the end of the season, but definitely love the World Series. So I think we're just gonna jump right into it. I think we'll kind of give a brief overview of each game that's been played so far, and then kind of look forward into the series and kind of what might happen next. So
yeah,
let's just jump right into it with Game 1, Friday, October 27th. What a game!
Yeah, best game of the series so far, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Arizona was in control. Oh, my bad. Yeah, you go ahead, Shane. My bad.
No, I was gonna jump right into it. So you go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, Arizona was in control this whole game. They looked strong. They jumped on Nathan Eovaldi early, put up 4 runs in the first several, or in those middle innings there, and they looked really strong. Zach Gallen wasn't great. Gave up 2 runs in the first and then another run in the third, but did enough to keep them in the game and gave them some innings. And then, I mean, what more can you ask for? But your 2 best hitters this postseason absolutely coming through. Corey Seager with a 2-run bomb in the bottom of the ninth to send it to extra innings. And then Adolis Garcia with the walk-off in the 11th inning. I mean, just an amazing game. I loved every second of it. It was crazy because, the Diamondbacks were in control of the game for so long. Their bullpen's been so good this postseason. And then, we'll talk about this more, but I think the win is you have to not throw to Corey Seager because he is Barry Bonds right now. He's just I think every single one of his at bats so far in the World Series has resulted in a ball that's been hit over 95 miles per hour exit velo or a walk. So he's not missing. He is crushing the ball and is taking his walks. He's an aggressive guy. He likes going after the first pitch, but he's also been content in walking. So
yeah, he's had some big home runs. I think he's had 2 or 3 now in this series. I mean, it really is to that level where it's like you really can't pitch this guy. And especially when you have guys like Marcus Semien, who's hitting much better this series. He had a big bomb for them early in the game yesterday. 2 days ago in that 3-1 win. Maybe it wasn't. Excuse me. I know he's had I'm trying to look for. I'm scrolling through the box scores, but besides the fact he's been hitting really well, it makes a huge difference for them. I think, I was little. I think that first game is going to end up being absolutely huge for them, especially now that Adolis Garcia is out. Just having that first game that could have gone really either way, and getting that game, getting the series started with a win, and Adolis Garcia using him while you can is huge. Obviously, the big walk-off hit, and now he's done for the year. I can't express how much that first game means, and I think that really flips the tide of the series from my perspective. For a lot of people's perspective, it's just the way the Rangers came out back and battled. So in that first game, just looking at the box score, kind of the main points I had is first time we saw Nathan Eovaldi kind of not look super stellar. He gave up 5 earned and 4 2/3. Did strike out 8, which is kind of impressive with that kind of stat line. But then Zach Gallen on the other side of the ball, he hasn't been like perfect, but 5 innings, 3 runs puts you in the game. Not a bad job at all by Gallen. So definitely benefits the Diamondbacks. And then the guy that we saw kind of fold, like you said, for the Diamondbacks bullpen was Paul Sewald, the guy that we've seen be super stellar this whole postseason. So and then they brought in Miguel Castro, who struggled. that game gave up that bomb. They've used him a couple times. Used him last night. Gave up another 3 earned runs in one
Hmm.
third. I have no trust in him. Um, so I don't know if you have this box score up, Drew. Is there anything that really strikes your eye?
I mean, no, I mean, I think we've kind of hit everything, like I guess the one thing with Paul Sewald is that's a guy who's very similar to like Alexis Diaz in terms of like fastball. Like it's not high velo, but the release point and kind of the spin on it allows him to get away with fastballs up in the zone. And he just kind of left a cookie up there in the upper part of the plate and didn't spot it where he wanted to. So, I and Paul Sewald's been actually, I mean, I don't even know if there's been a game that he's pitched in yet because the rest of the games have not really been super close. But, I mean, that's tough to kind of give up that, especially that pitcher. Like he walked the worst. Well, it was not who's there? Tavares. He walked Tavares before that the nine hole, and that's a guy maybe that you want to go at. So that the sequencing there, was a little unfortunate for Sewald, especially since he got Simeon to I think weekly fly out. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's a great pitcher, and that's a guy that you expect to execute there, and he's never really been in those big moment situations until this year. So I guess it was bound to catch up to him. Just kind of stinks for the D-backs that it was then, but I do agree with you. Like getting that win was huge for for the Rangers, especially looking back now that Adolis Garcia is out, which is just, I mean, it sucks. I mean, he had probably had a chance to be World Series MVP. I don't know. I mean, the way Corey Seager's been hitting, it probably is going to be Corey Seager if the Rangers win. But I mean, he was on a tear. I mean, this is a true historic postseason. He set the postseason record for RBIs. I mean, he had hit a homer in like almost like the past several games. Like I think he had hit a homer in like 4 straight games before he got hurt. Like was just mashing. Had a great play out there in right field. In game 3. So you know, just kind of one of those things that they definitely, looking back, if the Rangers win the series, that will be huge, getting that first win, and maximizing Adolis Garcia's usage before he went out. So,
Yeah. I have a little question for you, Drew. What do you think Corey Seager's batting average in this World Series so far has been?
oh, in the World Series, I know his postseason is sitting around like 330. Um, World Series batting average. I think it's like 430 something. I think.
It is 235.
Is it really?
Yes, so that surprised me too because these stats he's 5 for 17. 3 of those hits have been bombs. He
Yeah.
currently holds a 235 average, but a 1139 OPS.
Okay. Now, yeah, that makes. Now that I had seen, yeah, I'm thinking back to a stat that I had seen. I should have. Yeah, that was on me. But like I said earlier, like he's hitting the ball, he's crushing it right now. It's just some of them have been not very. They've been just outs. So dang, I didn't realize it was that low. But yeah, I mean, like you said, he's been crushing the ball. So
No, I mean it's about being clutch, and he came up with big
hmm
hits at the right time. And the
yeah,
only hitter in the postseason or in the World Series that has a higher slugging and OPS is Tommy Pham. So we can definitely give him some shout outs. He's three, excuse me, 8 for 16, batting 500 right now. A bomb, 2 RBIs, 3 doubles, um, and just with an 875 slugging and a 1346 OPS. And this even he's by far been the best hitter for the Diamondbacks.
oh yeah,
Him and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who's 357 with a 946 OPS. Um, they've really been leading this charge. So on the other hand, if the Diamondbacks swing this, I mean, we could be looking at a Tommy Pham World Series MVP push. So
that would be crazy.
I do want to, I do want to kind of give one of your boys a hard time. We still kind of don't see Christian Walker turning it
I know.
on. He is bad. He is doing a little better this series. He's 5 for 18, 278. So the average is up, which is great to see. He actually has 2 triples, which is funny for not a particularly speedy guy. But the power numbers stay down. I don't think he has a home run this postseason.
He does. He hit one in the Dodgers series.
Okay, so he has one. He has
It
not
was a
hit
wall
a home run.
scraper.
Has not hit a home run in the NLCS or the World Series, which is I think it's been. I mean, even more impressive that this Diamondbacks team because that's their main power outlet right there. And so, um, do you think he has to produce power for them to win, especially against the Rangers team that is just shooting out runs like nobody's business?
Absolutely. I mean, when you kind of watch him as a guy, like doesn't he's not very emotional. Like he's very even keeled. Like he just is always just kind of sitting there, like almost staring at the wall, basically. I've never actually talked to him or anything like that, but just watching him interact throughout the game is super interesting because he's just very even keeled. And so I think he does kind of bring like a steadying presence to that lineup. That's not saying it's like super emotional or all that. Like all those guys are pretty even keeled. Like Corbin Carroll, even like Gabby Moreno is pretty. I don't know their personalities like outside of like playing baseball, but those guys are when they're on the field they're pretty serious. But Christian Walker kind of brings that one aspect that the Diamondbacks are really missing, and that's that big power bat. And he's really been an RBI guy for them all year. He's been the big source of their RBIs, runs batted in, lots of doubles, lots of homers. And so to kind of see him just really just struggle in this postseason, I mean, I absolutely think that if they're going to win, they need him to step up because they've got the pitching staff lined up. You hate being down 3-1, but the way your staff is lined up, you feel good about coming back. And I mean, somebody's got to knock those runs in, and it can't always be. You can't always rely on these rookies like Gavin Moreno and Corbin Carroll, or I mean, like Evan Longoria is 35, like he's incredibly old. Tommy Pham, to his credit, has been playing lights out after really struggling in the NLCS, but he's not a crazy RBI guy. I mean, he only has 2 RBIs this series, and part of that's because nobody's been on base in front of him. But yeah, I think they really do need Christian Walker to kind of turn it around to be able to close out this series, to win it, to come back. So I hope he figures it out. So we'll see. He made an error last night. He had a bad base running error in game 3. Like he's been a little shaky this series, but I think that he'll bounce back, and I think if he can kind of do that, I think he'll be able to fast track the Diamondbacks to a victory. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I do want to correct that I accidentally read the stat wrong. He has 2 doubles, not triples, which makes a little bit more sense. Um, something I will jump into the second game, but something I want to point out real quick is that the Diamondbacks have 5 stolen bases in these first 4 games. So they're not quite at the clip that they were running at those last 2 games, stealing 8 bags, averaging 4 a game in those last 2. But they're still running. They're still running a lot, as opposed to the Rangers who have 1 stolen base, actually from Adolis Garcia. So you take that out. They're not running at all. I think the Diamondbacks turn this around. Really got to. I think that was a huge key for them, and just keep putting pressure on. In this case, to be Jonah Heim, who is a catcher with a great arm. So
Yeah,
maybe
the
that
Rangers are
factors
really
into it.
good at holding runners on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they do a really good job of holding runners. So
No, you're all good. Gonna jump into the game too. A little bit of a hiccup from another guy,
mhm.
another one of the former Gamecocks, who's actually, I mean, can really not say anything about this guy. He's been fantastic all postseason. But Jordan Montgomery, the first kind of, I wouldn't even say it's a bad outing because he did go 6 innings with 4 earned runs. That still kind of puts you in the game, but not the Jordan Montgomery we've seen of this postseason. And then on the other side, Merrill Kelly, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 9 Ks. This guy has been phenomenal this postseason. By far the best pitcher for the Diamondbacks. It's great to see that. And then they actually coming. I mean, they had a huge lead at this point, but putting South Rank in for an inning and third and having that scoreless might be big for them just to get another lefty with some confidence in that bullpen. Real story of this game is that Diamondbacks offense woke up after and continued to play well after that first game. That was a heartbreaker. Moreno had a home run. We saw Gurriel with an RBI, Longoria, Carroll with a couple of RBIs, Marte, Rivera. So really all around hitting well. They all of their starters got a hit except Alec Tom. Oh, excuse me. No, all of their starters did get a hit. So really good overall production from them. And then on the Ranger side, really got shut out this game. 4 hits combined this whole game. And one of them, the only run they scored was a Mitch Garver home run. So I don't know if I have much to say about this game. It's kind of tougher to talk about these lopsided games because it's really just a good showing by the Diamondbacks. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to mention one quick thing, or two quick things, I guess. Montgomery did not get a K in his 6 innings. The Diamondbacks were not swinging and missing. I think they I don't know. It was just really impressive. Montgomery, a guy, not a big strikeout guy, but a guy that gets some swings and misses and is really able to kind of work around guys and does get his fair share of strikeouts. It's not, Spencer Strider, like Garrett Cole, Kevin Gosman type stuff, but he gets strikeouts. He doesn't walk any guys. So I mean, he only had 1 walk in his 6 innings of work, but just the very limited swing and miss there from Montgomery. He was really not able to get that, and that's how he kind of works around guys so well. Is he gets that swing and miss on the curveball, and then the sinker gets a lot of ground balls. So it was just not a great showing by him, and honestly, probably was what more probably shaded more towards great game planning by the Diamondbacks. They really executed, swing at pitches they needed to swing at, kind of taking pitches that they didn't need to swing at. And then what I also want to mention is, again, Miro Kelly's great performance, but that one solo homer that he gave it to Mitch Garver it was like a perfect pitch, like dotted sinker on the inside corner. I mean, might have even been like a hair low, and Garver just pulls around on it, gets the barrel to it, and just yanks it for a homer. And they interviewed Garver after the home run. They're like, "Hey, that was pretty cool. Like, do you do that a lot?" He was like, "No, I never hit pitches there out. I don't really know what happened. I just saw it and I swung at it and then I hit it out." And that was not exactly what he said, but basically the sentiment that he was giving. So great swing by Garver, but yeah, I mean, Jordan Montgomery, need to see him bounce back. And if it goes to game 6, he'll need to be big for them. A lot better. I think he will. He usually is really well about making adjustments and stuff. So I think he'll come in and perform. But yeah, I mean, Kelly's been lights out this postseason. So that was kind of all I had on that. It was good to see the Diamondbacks have their offense kind of not necessarily awake, but continue to roll and really put up some runs on a really good pitcher. So yeah, that's kind of all I have for game 2.
All right, well then let's jump into game 3 where Corey Seager came up big again. Really early in the game, the Rangers got out to a 3-0 lead with a Simeon RBI single and then a Corey Seager 2-run bomb in the third, and then the Diamondbacks would scratch one across. But this was Brandon Pfaadt's game, a guy that we highly praised, and I mean I can't really criticize him. He had 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, another start that really kept the Diamondbacks in the game. Just did not score. Max Scherzer had his first good start of the World Series. He was hit by a comebacker to the lower back and had to exit the game. I don't know if that was the reason, True. I don't know if he read up on that anymore. It was kind of weird.
It wasn't directly related, but I think it led into it. I think actually the ball hit off his throwing elbow and then hit his back. So, but I think he's just, his body is just done this season. I think he's just done, and I mean, he had all that stuff in his shoulder and tricep, and I think he was just laboring. But yeah, I don't think they're saying it's directly related to the ball. I think they're just saying that it was that may have helped it out a little bit. But I think from how I've heard it is that it would have probably would have happened no matter what.
That sucks. And
Hmm.
it's kind of I was going to bring this up earlier, but these players both played Scherzer and Garcia both played in World Series, and so I mean, there's no question that this ring will absolutely mean just as much to them as any other player. It always kind of gets into your head, like if a player doesn't play in the playoffs or gets injured in the NLCS, like how legitimate is their ring? Um, but these two guys really, really did still earn their ring, and so that makes me happy to see Scherzer if it does go the Rangers' way to get uh to have at least. I mean, 3 innings, no runs. I know that's not a long start. I don't know if he would have gone any longer or much longer anyway because him coming back from an injury, but that's a good start under his belt. John Gray came out with another 3 scoreless innings. Josh Spores, I think that's you pronounce his name. Another
Yes.
scoreless inning behind him. He's been fantastic. Has a .93 ERA this postseason, and then Aroldis Chapman is the only run given up this game. So,
Yeah, and
um,
oh, um, I think that the
go ahead.
Rangers were gonna roll with Scherzer for as long as possible. I don't know how smart that would have been, but John Gray came into the game ice cold. He did not warm up in the bullpen when he came in. He warmed up on the mounds, up there up front. He did not get any work in the bullpen before that. Before Scherzer had to exit. Scherzer initially in the fourth inning went up, basically had to pull himself up the stairs from what I've heard, and then got on the mound and just couldn't. I mean, it wasn't possible for him to throw and be effective. So they called in Gray, and Gray turned in a great outing, 3 innings, 3 Ks, 1 hit, no run. So that really sealed the game. I think Scherzer got I think Scherzer's performance looks better than it actually was. Christian Walker hits a double there. I believe it was in the third inning, yeah. And then let's see who hits after him. Let me see. Um Walker and then Tommy Pham, I believe, hits a single into right field, and Walker runs through, initially gets the go ahead to go home, and then his third base coach puts up the stop sign. Walker runs through it and gets thrown out at home by Garcia. That gives them 1 out. And then Tommy Pham is on first, and then I think Lourdes Gurriel grounds into a double play. That's the ball that hit off Scherzer, bounced to Young at third, and they were able to get out of the inning. So, um, I think if Walker doesn't get thrown out there at home, we see the Diamondbacks kind of go on a little bit of a run there, maybe put up 1 or 2 runs, and that maybe changes the impact of the game. But that's not what happened. Scherzer, 3 innings, no runs, helps get his team the win in a glorified bullpen game. So John Gray was really great. Spores was also really great. So
Yeah, I mean, Josh Spores has got to be like, I know realistically he's not World Series MVP or even postseason MVP, but if I were to pick a postseason MVP for this pitching staff, behind Jordan Montgomery, it's definitely Josh Spores. I mean, this guy's come up huge in big innings for him. I mean, to post a .93 ERA in the postseason, and he's had a lot of innings. It's really impressive. Um, I don't really have much more on that, Drew. Do we want to move on to the next game?
yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next game.
All righty. So this next game was the Diamondbacks ended up making it look a little better than it was, but
Yeah.
the Rangers scored the first 10 runs and were up 10-0 in the third, behind a Seager home run, a Simeon home run, a Simeon triple, and then a guy I really want to shout out, Travis Janikowski, with Adolis Garcia out. Started his first game yesterday. Had himself a day, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and made a really big diving catch that scared me a little bit. I saw it on social media after it. He tripped up Simeon, so I think some fans were scared that Simeon was going to get hurt there. But no, he had a really good game. Really, just again that the Rangers jumped on. They jumped on Mantiply, scored a run, and then again Miguel Castro with 3 earned runs in 1/3 is just kind of destroyed the Diamondbacks from there. Diamondbacks did fight back a little bit. Gurriel had a really good game. He homered later in the game. Pham, sac fly, Moreno single. But I mean, at that point, they were kind of out of it. And so the real story of this game is just a tactic. The bullpen game that worked for the Diamondbacks against the Phillies did not this time. And Andrew Heaney, 5 innings, 1 earned run for the Rangers. That's huge for a guy that's kind of been struggling down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, got to give him credit. Jose Leclerc came in, shut down in the ninth like he has been. He only needed to pitch 1/3. Um, he's pitched. Let me get this right. He's pitched 3 out of the 4 games and has not allowed a run yet. So from a kind of shaky NLCS where he gave up some, especially Altuve really, or ALCS where Altuve really roughed him up. He's pitched 3 1/3 scoreless this World
Yeah.
Series and has been huge.
Yeah, yesterday he came in and got 1/3 after Will Smith could not close out the ninth. Will Smith gave up. Shout out Will Smith. He always gives heart attack. He's a heart attack guy. Gives people heart attacks. Gave up 2 runs there, so they brought in Leclerc to finish it up. So he's been great this series, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, really gives him a bona fide closer. So
Yeah. I know some people were
Um,
mentioning moving Spores to the closer role, but I think that Bochy likes the way that it's lining up here. So with
no,
Leclerc as the closer.
I gotta give Bochy credit. Like he trusts his guys. He trusts what he's been doing. I don't. I mean, he's been keeping his lineup pretty. He changed it a little bit up in the ALCS, but now that they found a groove, he's really been keeping it consistent, but keeping the guys in the spots they're comfortable with. And I really applaud that from a guy, especially in this big of a situation. A lot of coaches get mental. He's in there putting the guys he trusts out there. Even like a role as Chapman. I mean, there's debate about whether he should be going into games. And I think he has pitched only 1 inning this World Series and when they were up 3-0. So I guess a little less high leverage. But yeah, he's sticking with his guys, and the acquisition of so many starters like is really coming. Like John Gray, Dane Dunning, Andrew Heaney, Max Scherzer. Those 4 guys are kind of just inning eaters, which has been really big. And then you got Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi, who you can stretch. Like that has made a huge difference for him.
Oh yeah.
We all kind of doubted their consistency. So, if you have any big points on that, Drew, definitely take it away. But I do have something I do want to get into, maybe a different, bigger discussion about after.
Yeah, well, one thing I just find really interesting here, and this ended up not being as big as a deal as maybe I thought it was going to be, but against the Phillies in their bullpen game last series, Joe Mantiply did not come out for the second inning. Yesterday against the Rangers, he came out for the second inning. Now he ended up only getting 1 run, giving up 1 earned run attached to his line, but I just found that really interesting that that's what they chose to do, was to bring him back out there. And yeah, I mean Castro just got lit up. I mean that was bad. And then Nelson only gives up 1 earned run, but ends up giving up 3 runs, 2 unearned. So yeah, I mean, and then their Frias also gives up 3 unearned. So it's not a great day for the Diamondbacks. But I mean, like you said, Andrew Heaney, beautiful. I mean, great start for him. I mean, you're kind of hoping that him and Dunning can combine for 5 innings, I think, and he goes out there and gives you 5 on his own, and Dunning only gives you 1 scoreless there, and I think that's big. So, yeah, that's kind of all I think all I have on that game. So,
And kind of on the disappointing side of things, after covering all those games, is the TV viewership for this World Series. It is at a low. The third game of the World Series, I don't have the fourth game stats up. I just have an article that displays the first 3 games. But Game 3 had a record low 8.13 million viewers. And Game 2 had 8.15. Both of these topped the previous record low of 8.16 million viewers, which was in the 2020 World Series, Game 3 versus which featured the Dodgers and Rays. And just for a little perspective, last year, between the Phillies and Astros, uh, every game averaged 12 million viewers, which was great. That was the highest. I don't know if that was the highest ever, but the highest we've seen in a while. As in 2020, every game averaged a little under 10 million, and in 2021, it was around 12 million as well. So the past couple years, it's been up, and everybody's raving about it. It's been great. Um, and then this year is really disappointing to see at a very low level. This article that I'm reading cites two reasons: the lack of star power and the lack of big markets. The lack of star power, I disagree with. The lack of big markets, it's really hard to disagree with. I don't know if I can. I mean, Phoenix isn't a huge market, and the Rangers aren't a huge market. A team like the Phillies, anytime they're in the playoffs or the World Series, obviously, we get a huge following. Even the Astros, they do, despite their scandals of late, they do have a really big following. So, what's your initial reaction to this, Drew? I know obviously disappointment, but a little bit more in depth, like what your our thinking is behind these reasons and what you're thinking.
I mean, I honestly really don't care too much about ratings. I guess it's cool to see that people are watching and stuff like that, but like ratings does nothing for me. Like all I care about is that I'm watching the game and that I care and that like I have like a few people who also care who I talk to about it. Like it's like I understand like it maybe I could understand like why like people want to see the game grow and stuff like that, but like I think the way that we take in a game nowadays is so differently, especially baseball, because there's just so many games, and then like in the playoffs, tickets are so expensive. Like I think a lot of people do kind of taking games in more abbreviated ways, like listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube recap or like Instagram or TikTok or or Twitter and all that. So I do think it is interesting that it was so high last year, and I think people really do like when it was the Phillies and Astros, like there was just that excitement level about Philly. The Astros, people are tuning in just to watch them lose. Like the Astros get plenty of haters that kind of boost those viewership numbers too as well. But like if you're like and this is maybe like not the right opinion to have or whatever, but like I don't really care about trying to draw in like a bunch of just random people to baseball. Like if people are genuinely interested and want to learn more about baseball and want to watch, like that's awesome. But like I think baseball, just the way it is, the sport is like it's just gonna be very hard for them to get like a lot of just like not casual fans, because baseball definitely has those and there's nothing wrong with that. Like casual fans are awesome. Like they don't have a lot invested in it and they just kind of watch when they want to, and it's really like it's also good for the sport as well. um but like with football, like there are people who watch the Super Bowl who literally know nothing about football but literally just go and watch the Super Bowl or like watch the playoffs. Like baseball just doesn't have that luxury, just because like like you kind of get the kind of stereotype of like people who like don't know anything about sports, and like they're asking all these questions about football. Like they can kind of learn how football's played and kind of understand it in a night. Like if you're watching the World Series, like you're not going to understand how baseball works. Like it takes some time to kind of sit down and learn how it works. And so I hate that people are pointing to the lack of star powers, because if you've paid any attention to baseball this year, like that is obviously not true. I mean, start with the pitchers. You've got Gallen, Miro Kelly, who are big name guys, big contract guys that are contending for a Cy Young, or in Miro Kelly's case, just really good pitchers. You've got Nathan Eovaldi, who's nasty, has played on the big stage for big teams in big moments. He is well known. Jordan Montgomery, I can understand how you may not know exactly who he is, because when he was on the Yankees, they traded him because they didn't see him making their playoff staff. He really didn't come into his own there until he got to St. Louis, and then about the time that he was really kind of ramping up, being really good, was kind of this past year when the Cardinals were really just faltering. And then if you look at the batter side, I mean, sure, the D-backs, probably their only real star guy that you could argue is Corbin Carroll. I would argue Ketel Marte is a star player. I mean, he's been there. He's been in the league. He's been extremely good. for many seasons. And then when you
I
look at
mean,
the Rangers side, you've got Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon, Adolis Garcia, like Josh Jung is a guy a lot of people know. I know he's only a rookie, but he's been really good this year. Great glove, great bat. I mean, there's just a lot of guys who are just really good on this team, on both teams. And so it's kind of frustrating to hear people say, like, oh, there's just a lack of star power, lack of, oh, this is just not a lot of good players. Like, if you've paid any attention to baseball, like there are good players on these teams. There are star level players on these teams. So I just think that's kind of dumb. But, I guess that was the long way of me saying, like, they're great players, really exciting players, and I really don't care about the ratings. I guess I took the long way around to that. So I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's kind of where I'm at with that.
yeah, from my perspective, it just comes down to like these big names that we're seeing are making their names like in this playoffs. Like Ketel Marte, obviously, in my opinion, is a star. I mean, he holds the postseason record for a hitting streak
Yep.
now. Like the dude is good, but he's really made himself a name in this postseason. So I just don't think it's the guy like Bryce Harper who's been there a lot, or Jose Altuve, these Astros guys that people have seen year after year when they started to take a liking to him. So I think that's really a tough thing. And then again, the markets is just a tough thing not to come back to. You'd think Dallas would be a pretty big market.
Yeah,
They
with the
probably are the
Dallas
big,
Fort Worth is a big area.
yeah, they probably are the bigger market of the two. Just maybe again a team that hasn't been great in a while. So maybe if they win their first championship now, stuff changes. And I mean, again, those I mean, if you see a Yankees or a Mets or a Phillies, any Dodgers, those kind of teams really do boost the ratings, and rightfully so. We don't have one of those teams right
Yeah.
now.
Those are teams that really do kind of attract. If you are ever going to get like a kind of fan who really doesn't know anything about baseball watching the World Series, one of those, if one or both or any of those teams are in the World Series, that's like when you're going to get those teams fans watching. Like when you have anybody outside of, I mean, really probably New York Mets, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers. Even the Phillies, like they probably don't bring in a lot of like more casual fans. They're just hardcore fan base is so big, and probably the Braves. Maybe the Braves. I feel like the Braves have a pretty big market, especially in the South.
Maybe the Cubs.
Yeah, maybe the Cubs. The Cleveland Cubs World Series was really, really exciting. That was a great series. I don't know how it did ratings wise, but yeah, kind of outside those handful of teams, like if none of those teams are in the World Series, like it really is going to be tough ratings. And also like the World Series started on a Friday, which is just a notoriously bad TV day for anything, TV shows or sports, just because people are out doing stuff. They're not sitting at home watching TV, which is completely fair. So yeah, it's I mean, I'm sure people are gonna point to it afterwards and be like, oh no, baseball, it's dying again. Oh, all these rule changes all for nothing. But I think that's not true. I think if you look at I think the attendance numbers speak more to if the game is growing or not than TV ratings. So
Yeah, I mean, as we expected, every World Series game I did check is sold out.
yeah.
So that is good to hear. About 50,000 I mean, that's the max capacity for both stadiums, so around 50,000. Yeah, and I mean, it's just that speaking like they had games on Saturday that line up with college football, kind of
Yes.
interfere, and
This
Monday
is like
night football for NFL kind of thing.
yeah. This is the one night a year where one time a year where you got NFL, college football, baseball, NBA just started up, and hockey is also starting up. So it's just a tough time of year for sports, especially a sport that doesn't do great TV ratings wise in baseball. So
Yeah, shout out my Clippers. I don't know how I feel about the James Harden trade. Not a huge James Harden fan, so uh, they're really selling out. I just had to mention that because I've had a wave of emotions in regard to that. But we need a championship. If you're gonna come to LA, James, give us a championship. So
we'll see how much he weighs when he arrives.
so back to baseball. I mean, we can give you the updates up to this point. It's the top of the second. Corbin Carroll did lead off the game with a walk, stole second, reached third on the ground ball, and then Christian Walker walked.
Hmm.
Um,
That was a really
but
good at bat. I think that his at bat was 8 pitches. He fouled off one, two, three pitches, and swung. He swung at he swung at all of the strikes, and then obviously ended up walking. So that was a good at bat. But not I didn't mean to interrupt you. My bad.
no, you're good. I mean, I was gonna say that was a good bet too. So if I missed that, but no, that's I mean, hopefully that leads them to kind of fire up this game and
Mhm.
games ahead if necessary. So they did have first and third, but Evaldi got out of it with a
Tommy
I
Pham
believe
got
is Tommy Fan fielder's
Yeah.
choice. So currently 0-0 going into the bottom of the second as Zach Gallen just had another scoreless inning. So he's off
Yep.
to a good start.
One quick thing to note about that game too, and I know Shane kind of mentioned this, but Corbin Carroll is actually leading this game off as opposed to hitting second as they've normally done. It's going Carroll then Marte. Usually it's Marte then Carroll. So I don't know what the thought behind that was. Maybe they like the matchup. They're trying to maybe make things a little bit harder on Evaldi or the bullpen later down the road. But it'll be interesting to see if that does anything. Carroll's been a little hot and cold this series. He's had some good games, some not great games. He's been a little all over the place. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so far both pitchers have it was Gallon's thrown it well, but I guess Evaldi does have those 2 walks, but those are the only really 2 anything. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be back next week talking about the winner of the World Series. And so,
Yep.
uh, just a quick prediction. I do think the Rangers are going to pull it out. Maybe the Diamondbacks squeak out this game. I'd love to see, more baseball, but I do think that. And I picked the Diamondbacks originally. I'm not fake. I don't think. I just, the Rangers are playing really good ball right now. I'd love to see either team win. But what's your prediction, Drew?
Man, I don't know. The Adolis Garcia injury is really what's kind of preventing me from picking the Rangers. I mean, really outside of Corey Seager, like Simeon has not been great outside of yesterday. I know he does have like 2 bombs on the series, but yesterday was really his first good game. And he only had 2 hits. He had a triple and a home run. So after those first 2 hits, he really didn't impact the game very much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Diamondbacks, they've got their pitching lined up. The Rangers do too. The Rangers have Evaldi tonight and then Montgomery on, I believe, Friday because tomorrow's a travel day, I believe. But then that game, if it gets to a game 7, they've got a bullpen game. Heaney and John Gray have both pitched well. Heaney won't pitch. Dunning. Oh, I don't know. This is tough, man.
Against
Oh,
the ice in his veins, Brandon Pfaadt.
yeah, bro, the Fought Bot, man. The Fought Bot. Oh, man, this is tough. I don't know. Oh, I feel like both these teams are with Adolis Garcia going out. I know the Rangers are up 3-1, but both these teams I feel like are so evenly matched right now. Man, I don't think I can switch up my pick mid World Series. I think I got to still roll with the D-backs. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, who knows? But I'm gonna go with the D-backs. I think they'll close it out in 7. I think. Yeah, yeah. Let's go D-backs. I'll keep rolling with the D-backs. So we'll see what happens. See if I'm right. See if I'm wrong. I don't know. But I picked them to begin with, and I'm gonna stick with my pick. So something Shane's not
Yeah.
doing.
No, I mean, I want to clarify. My pick was the Diamondbacks. I will never discredit that. I do think the Rangers will win, but I did pick the Diamondbacks to win. So if that does end up wrong, I am still wrong. My pick is still the Diamondbacks, just at the current state. I do believe the Rangers are the favorable choice. But I did the same thing for the Phillies. If the Diamondbacks come back and win because of me, that's great. Gurriel just hit a single to start off the inning again in the bottom
100
second.
miles an hour exit velo.
Wow, how are you getting these live updates? That's pretty cool.
So if you go to MLB.com and then you click Gamecast, you can get like all the live updates. And so if you go to the left where it says Lourdes Gurriel singles on a sharp ground ball to center field or Leody Taveras, you click on that and then like the stats. So 100.8 mile per hour exit velo, distance 17 feet, launch angle of -11 degrees, and then it shows. And then in the middle where it shows like the game cast, you can hover over the pitch and it tells you the pitch type, the velo. It has a spot for spin rate, but it's not showing spin rate, but it does show degree break. So like these two splitters that Evaldi has just thrown are sitting. One was at 15.6 and one was at 18-degree break. And Alec Thomas swung at both. He
That's
fouled
pretty
both
cool.
off. Yeah, it is pretty cool.
I'm just on ESPN following their game cast, which does not include all those
I don't really like
metrics.
ESPN that much. MLB.com is better.
All right, Drew, you ready for the trivia?
I'm ready.
All righty. In the 2010s, from 2010 to 2019, a decade where we both fell in love with baseball and have watched the majority of baseball in our lives. What five, and really six, because there's two pitchers on this list that are tied. What, I guess, six pitchers are tied for the top five in most strikeouts during the 2010s?
I feel like I have to go Garrett Cole.
He is not on there.
Okay, Scherzer,
Scherzer's number one.
Kershaw,
Number three.
Greinke,
Tied for number five.
tied for number 5. Okay, that's what I was thinking. All right, so I've got
One more obvious guy, and then two a little harder.
Scherzer. Oh, Verlander.
Number two. Get to the two hard guys.
High strikeout guys during the 2010s.
Both are lefties.
Both are lefties. Ooh, this could be very wrong, but also could be really right. How do we feel about CC Sabathia?
He is in the top 15, but is not in the top 5.
Dang. Oh, I was throwing that one out there. I wasn't sure. Let's see. Two lefties.
Got to think a little bit more recent. One is still playing, and one is very recently retired.
Lefties that are retired. One is retired and one is still playing.
I believe he technically retired this year, but he hasn't played for a little bit.
He hasn't played for a little bit. Ooh.
If you need more hints, I can offer them, but there
is.
isn't. While Drew's thinking, I'd like to thank the viewers, our listeners, excuse me. We will have this up on Spotify, and I believe YouTube. My camera was not on for this episode just due to some technical difficulties, but we really appreciate you tuning in.
John Lester.
Drew, oh my goodness, number 7, not in the top 5.
Oh my gosh! Oh, you're kidding me. Let's see.
One of these pitchers played on the team that John Lester is very well known for. He currently plays on that team.
Not the Cubs. The Cubs?
Not the Cubs.
The Red Sox.
The other...
What? Oh, Chris Sale. Oh my gosh.
Yes, Chris Sale is number 4.
I knew that. Oh, that's so frustrating. He's been hurt. Oh, I didn't even think about him. And then the other guy is retired.
Tied for 5th, best known for the Phillies.
Oh, Roy Halladay.
No. He's a lefty.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Roy Halladay was a righty. And I think he logged a lot of his innings pre-2010. I think he got called up in 2006. Phillies guy.
You're kicking yourself when you hear this name. He's tied with Zach Greinke at 1,872 Ks in the 2010s.
I know I'm gonna kick myself when I hear it, but I can't. Yeah, you just go ahead and give it to me. I'm not gonna get it.
It is Cole Hamels.
Oh, dang it! I thought about him, but I didn't. Oh, he hasn't played. He hasn't pitched since 2018. Dang.
I know, but he technically just retired this year, I believe. He
did. You're right. I thought about him, but I was like, "There's no way." Dang.
Yeah.
I can't believe CC Sabathia. Oh man, I thought CC Sabathia would have been a sneaky pick. I guess he had some pre-2010 innings too that probably took away. he was a little older because he retired in like 2017, I think. So that probably wasn't that great of a guess. And then
Yeah, and
Holiday
shout out
was-
like Gio Gonzalez, James Shields, and
Mhm.
Ian Kennedy, who are top 15, all of them, and surprisingly the top kind of guys that I wouldn't have thought of, and even like Chris Archer. Some of these guys
Really?
surprised me this list. Yeah,
He's-
he's in the top 25.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figure that the Max Scherzer, Verlander, Kershaw, even
Yeah.
Greinke, those four kind of staples in our generation. But
Yeah.
the Sale and Hamels, I don't know if I would have gotten those either. So
I should have known Sale. He has I don't think I ever would have got no day would I've gotten Hamels probably. He he played for the Braves. He signed a contract with us, but never ended up pitching. Dang. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate it. We'll be back next Wednesday to break down the end of the World Series. Could end tonight, could end Saturday or Sunday. Saturday.
Yep. Could end Saturday. No, could end
could end
Friday or Saturday.
Friday or Saturday. So yeah. Who knows? We're excited. We will see y'all next week. Thanks for listening.